wanted to say, and I'm saying now, Happy Easter to all of you. But I realized that happy doesn't quite express what I'm feeling. So I'll say happy and blessed Easter. This has been really a remarkable week. I'm sure it is every year. Of course it is. This last week of the life of Jesus' life on earth. How could it be anything different in the telling, but just remarkable? So I think maybe, if I'm honest, what I'm feeling or what I've been feeling is that I was just able to tune into it in a way that maybe I haven't before. And, it started last week with Sai Ganesh's sermon on Palm Sunday, which was really a remarkable telling and creating a beautiful vision, image for us of what was happening that day. And the flow of the whole story is so meaningful. So just in a couple of minutes, he described the scene in Jerusalem as Christ was coming. It was very celebratory. People just had no idea what was about to happen. And of course, there was this trouble going on between the Jews and the Romans, but there was a lot of celebration. The people expected that Jesus would announce who he was, and he would be accepted as the King of the Jews, as a manifestation of God. Only Jesus knew all along that that was not at all what he would do. He knew exactly throughout his whole time on this earth what would happen and when it would happen. There's a beautiful story about when, I don't know which Roman priest it was, but he wanted to have those people who were subordinate to him kill Jesus earlier. And they walked Jesus down. They were furious because Jesus was behaving as if he was God, and it was being considered blasphemous by everybody, even by the Jews, many Jews who had prayed for God to come to them. They wanted this, but it just wasn't many of their times yet. They were not evolved enough to see that bright light and to accept the teachings. But when they took Jesus to this cliff and were telling him to jump, and it was pretty dramatic, but Jesus just turns around and he faces all of the Romans who were there, and he says, no, this is not happening, not here, not in this way, not yet. Nobody understood that, but Jesus was saying, I know when and how this will happen. And what Sai Ganesh said that was of such importance and meaning last week is he presented to us so beautifully the impossibility of that which is happening on the physical plane, that which is coming through our egoic desires, how we would love to see everything resolve here in a way that we can have everything we want. We want it to resolve the way we want it to resolve. I am going to love you, God. I love you. But please don't make me change much about my life. Please don't let me have to give up very much. Why can't I have all of that? And of course, we can't have all of that. in a sort of crude way of saying it, but true, they're simply mutually exclusive. That which our ego desires, that which we live day to day, that level of consciousness, we have to let go of it in order to expand into Christ consciousness, cosmic consciousness. We can't hold on to it and go where we think we want to go. It's impossible. And it's very hard. These lessons that we get in life, the ways that we're told, you have to let go, you have to let go, you have to overcome. You can't tell yourself, I love God, I want to be one with God, I want to have that experience, but I don't like this person, I don't like the way this one's treating me, I didn't like that experience we just had. Let me see if I can recreate it. It won't work. It's tragic when we come to it and we see the impossibility of it. Then the moment comes where we can say, which way will I go? Will I be able to let go of all that I'm attached to go into that state of divine bliss? And we also live with this story, somehow believing, whether we've thought this through or not, that this is all something that happened 2,400 years ago. It seems so far away, so different, so like it was then, not consciously grasping. It's now. We only have this moment. That's all we ever have. Christ wasn't then. Christ is now. He's with us in exactly the same way. Of course, that consciousness manifests over and over in the form of many different teachers, but it's all the same consciousness that we are trying to attune ourselves to. So we had this week that started with that service, and then we came to Good Friday. And I have to say, when Lakshmi came and said, I think we could do Good Friday based on the Stations of the Cross. I don't really know what the Stations of the Cross are. I didn't then. I was born and raised Jewish. I've heard of them. I saw them in Italy many times. I had no idea. But somehow I knew, many of us knew, this is an inspiration, not just a great idea. And then we all had to dive deeply into those stations, because what we knew we needed to do was take the Stations of the Cross. I'm a little sorry they're not still up here. And not just walk them like Catholics have been walking them for centuries and centuries, really since the time of St. Francis. He didn't materialize them, but he popularized them. And since his time, Catholics have been walking them, sometimes every week. But what we knew we needed to do was take those stations. Jesus died. Jesus is condemned to death. Jesus is made to bear the cross. Jesus falls. I'm not going to go through all of them, but just imagine how easy it would be to feel only the human agony of those stations. Imagine that. Every picture that depicts them from that consciousness, simply a human consciousness, those pictures just can look brutal, But we said we have been given by Yogananda through Swami Kriyananda a way to know that the truth behind the Stations of the Cross, that there's so much more truth to that walk that Jesus had to do on Good Friday, from Gethsemane through Jerusalem to the place of his crucifixion, that we can look at those in truth from a place of this path of self-realization. That Yogananda wrote 2 huge volumes, 2,000 pages, that is subtitled The Resurrection of Christ Consciousness Within You. The Second Coming of Christ, the Resurrection of Christ Consciousness Within You. And when we start looking through that book, or we pay attention to all of his teachings, we begin to look at those stations in a very different way. Of course, we feel that Christ, who was in a body, Christ consciousness manifested on earth in a body, such that he had to experience some of the physical pain. He was living it, but his consciousness was not there. His consciousness was not limited to the body. And what happened over the couple of weeks before Good Friday, as this program was coming to each of us, was this sense, this being able to uplift ourselves with the consciousness of Christ, not with Christ the man who was taking this horrible walk, but we started being affected by his consciousness, drawn by it more and more, until we could feel, there's no other way to describe it, this great expansion. It is for all of us, not just a few people who were involved in that, a perfect opportunity to experience the dilemma that we face every day. Here we are in this body. Here we are by the very nature of it, with attachments, with desires, with fear, huge fear. And Christ shows us how natural that is when he says 3 times, Father, if there's any way that this cup, this agony that I'm about to go through can be taken from me, please do that, but only if it is thy will, not mine. He was praying out loud for all of us. I know everything that has to happen now has to happen such that Dharma, right action, prevails. Everything has to happen so that all of the karma that I have taken on, not just my karma, but the disciples and so many other people, this has to come, so many other souls, to the perfect ending so that all of that karma can be neutralized. Thy will. Is there a way to do that such that I don't have to be on that cross? He actually said that, but all of 3 times, thy will, not mine. He was saying, I'm going with God. I know God. I trust God. Whatever God gives me to do, whatever obstacles come, I see them as the perfect opportunity to free my soul. He was showing us that. And that is what happened as we didn't walk it, we danced it, we sang it, we started to see every obstacle that were so many in his life as these beautiful opportunities to learn how to serve God, how to love God, how to take the energy of the pain of what was right in front of us and transform it, allow it to be transmuted. And then yesterday, and I'm so sorry I wasn't here, but I've been here before, so I'm certain that it was just as elevated, uplifted as Asha leads her retreat on the oratorio. All of this beautiful music, you listen to these words. Swamiji walks us right through the life of Christ, and just in words and music and with his pure vibration, perfectly attuned to Christ, has us end right in Christ consciousness, hearts wide open. So last night I had a dream that I'd like to share with all of you. At the end of all of that, just being, not thinking, not reading, not studying, just giving myself, as many of us did, to Christ's love all week, to Christ's energy, his love, not a big academic pursuit, not a, I need to quit doing this, I need to quit doing that. Look how terrible I am. Look at the people that I hurt. Look at who I've betrayed in my life. Never mind just looking out at Judas. What about me? But none of that, just getting in this flow for a week. I had a dream. In the dream, I was up here about to give a Sunday service. All of you were here, but I was in a wheelchair. I had lost both of my legs. And I was so filled with joy to be with all of you, to be able to be speaking, to be in this, everybody's consciousness was so uplifted. The temple was full, but we could all feel each other individually and as a group. We were one. And I kept noticing that I didn't have any legs anymore. And in my dream, there was this awareness that something tragic had happened, some accident, but I never paid attention to it. And it came to me in the dream, you are not your body. You never were your body, which is precisely what was happening as Christ was up on that cross. Through any of his struggles, his own struggles, he's on the cross, and not his final words, but just about his final words, as he's looking out at all of these souls, these people who have betrayed him, who have beaten him, who have been humiliating him, who have doubted him, and most of all, who he couldn't share his teachings with. He was, whatever way he was suffering, because he so wanted to say, like any father would, let me show you, you don't have to suffer. Please, listen, I am the light that you have been praying for. Open your eyes, listen with your heart. If you could hear me, all of your suffering will be relieved. But the vast majority of people could not. And that was his agony, the agony that he couldn't save anybody who did not want to open their heart and receive him, all of those who couldn't. But he says, and Master said, of all of the miracles that he performed. His greatest miracle happened on that cross when he said to those souls, "Father, forgive them. They know not what they do." Could we imagine that? Could we imagine after all that? I get upset if people don't listen in 30 minutes. Wait a minute, do you hear what I'm trying to say? Here he dedicated this life, this whole incarnation, just like Yogananda said, I will keep returning. I will keep coming back 1 trillion times if necessary, as long as one stray brother is left. Imagine the love of that. And here he is, crucified. And he says, forgive them. He knows. They couldn't help it. This was the limits of their consciousness. This was their innate karma. They couldn't help. Not for 1 minute did any pain, anger, resentment enter his consciousness. He was free. He was free. And when we sing this song, in Christ's resurrection was the truth of Christ proved. Such a beautiful line, because he showed us by coming back, by taking form 3 days later, as he said he would, which was, of course, misunderstood by most. If you tear down this temple, I will rebuild it in 3 days. That even Master Yogananda did not say was the greatest miracle. The greatest miracle is that act, that statement, that showing of the word's not success. I can't think of the right word, but goodness, kindness, pure love, pure divine love, winning out over every darkness. But what we saw when we were doing these stations, we were shown 14 times how we can practice that in our own lives, how we can learn to love better, to serve better, to be courageous, because that is this, from the crucifixion to the resurrection, that's what we see. How much courage it takes to live a life in God. How much willingness to see suffering differently, to let go of the ways that we're sure that we need to see life, to begin to practice a life of pure generosity, of pure love, of pure seva, to not hold on to every pain, but to be willing to look at it and say to ourselves, how do I grow through this? Because it is that growing through all of the obstacles of life. Just like Yogananda said, there are no obstacles, not really. Even the loss of your legs, not an obstacle, an opportunity, everything. And that is exactly what Christ's life showed us. No obstacles, opportunity, and every opportunity we take. And it is never easy because it's perfectly designed for us. If you've come this far, here's the opportunity to go further. It will not be easy. So what? So what? Why don't we just face it head on like he did? Why don't we just get on our own donkeys and ride into town knowing what's going to happen and just be able to say, in order to find divine realization, I have to do this. There is no easy way out. You know, when we went to Italy, I don't know how many years ago it was, it doesn't matter. We took a trip down to where Padre Pio's body is, in Don Giovanni Rotondo is the name of the place. It's spectacular. Energetically, it's spectacular. The temple that they've built around his body is beautiful. But on a hillside, they have the Stations of the Cross. They're gorgeous. They're done beautifully. They're sculptures. But to do the stations, you have to climb up these steps. You weave in and out of forest. It's just done magnificently. Yet each station shows the agony of the moment. If you want to get stuck in the agony, plenty of opportunities to do that. When you get to the top of these beautiful, I think the steps must have been made out of marble, but I'm not sure, but it was Italy, so probably they were, is Christ transfigured, is the resurrection. You know, that's not the main part of the story for most Christians. It's not. People are still suffering. It's the crucifixion. It's that image of Christ with nails and blood. And who can look at that? It breaks my heart every time I look at it. Somebody did that. I can't fathom it. My little human self just wants to say no. But when you climb up those steps, which is really our astral spine, and Padre Pio knew that. He didn't directly design it, of course, he was long gone, but he was inspiring everybody. And he was a self-realizationist. Really, he was, because he had met Yogananda, everybody in that Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, in that place of truth, where they're all saying the same thing. Climb these steps, learn these lessons. And there was Christ in gold tones, white and gold tones, sun, free, transfigured. That is why Swami always said, this is the greatest story ever told. Of course it is. It's the story of each of our souls. Don't stop with the crucifixion. You miss the whole point. You really miss it, actually. It's a big last step. It's a big deal that Christ came back, because that is how truth was proved. In Christ's resurrection was the truth of Christ's proof. He could talk and talk and talk. He could do miracles. You know, when you don't want to believe that, you don't believe that. Somebody comes back. For anybody who had their heart even a little open, for all of us right now, 2024 years later, in his resurrection was truth proved. That's what we get to know. That's our truth. Yes, it's hard. Yes, he showed us 14 different ways that we could suffer, up to and including being nailed to a cross. Yes, it's all true. It's hard. We have that goal right here. Transformation, resurrection, light, pure love, pure, perfect, divine joy. Let's all say from now on, this week changed my life dramatically. It really did. It changed whatever tough things I thought was going on, whatever arguments I've been having with people, whatever physical limitations this 76-year-old body is going through. Okay, what's next? What's next? I'm doing this. And we can all say that. Masters said, Swamiji said this, don't ever say that you can't be Christ. Don't ever say those words. You are. All that's missing is our realization. We can all walk around like this. Don't do it in public. They'll think you're crazy. But when you're not in public, do it. remind yourself, this is me, heart wide open. This is the real me, not this. So may God and Christ bless us all with the willingness, with the courage, with the commitment to attain that realization in this very life.
I was caught up in ecstasy. 'Twas a day sanctified by God. There he showed me the truths of heaven, truths which all seeking him should know. How the soul made to live in freedom can reclaim its eternal right. How the night born of our delusions can be fired blazing with his light. joy of all joy, toward thee we aspire, who believe in thy word.
God's love is forever ours. In that eternal love, death itself, that ancient enemy, is vanquished. And life and joy reign forever and ever in our souls.
Life cannot die, only death can meet death. In Christ resurrected was the truth of Christ proved. In Christ resurrected was Christ's truth proved.
to